Alright, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about 5 tips on how to make it through AIT. These are things I wish I would have known, or I wish someone would have told me. I graduated AIT in 2018, so not that long ago. Things are pretty much the same, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, now before we get into the 5 tips, I just want to talk about what is AIT if you're not sure what it is, or you have an idea of it but not really sure exactly. AIT is Advanced Individual Training. This happens after basic training. Basic training pretty much builds you up as a soldier, and then AIT is pretty much what your job that you selected, or your MOS is all about, and you learn more about your MOS and everything about that. And if you do want to learn more about AIT, I will have a video linked in one of these corners above to check it out, and I go more in depth on what AIT is actually about if you are interested. So without further ado, we're going to get into tip number 1. Alright, now tip number 1 that I would give you or myself, my past self, advice on is study before the test. So there are tests throughout AIT that you take. There's different modules like A module, B, C, D, E, F, Foxtrot, and so on. However long your AIT is, it's all different depending on your MOS. For me, AIT was like 12 weeks. So there was tests throughout each section, and you get tested on it. So study before each test, because you do not want to fail these tests, and I'm going to tell you why later on in the video. But like I said, I would study before test night, and you pretty much get like a packet, like a workbook, and you take notes and fill in information that you learn from like presentation or PowerPoint slides. So just take your notes, make sure you're getting these answers. If you don't, do what I did, ask a battle buddy and get his notes from his workbook during class or even after class. So that's going to be tip number 1, and let's get into tip number 2. Alright, now tip number 2 is going to be to take notes during class. I kind of touched on this in the last one, but this is actually really important, because if you don't take notes, like I said, there's a workbook that you get, and you want to actually have the answers in your workbook, because if you don't, then you're probably not going to know the information that you need for your test. So like I said, just take notes, and then worst comes to worst, ask a battle buddy if you missed a part, and just help each other out, and vice versa. Alright, now tip number 3 is going to be to find a friend to study with. Throughout AIT and throughout your military career, you're going to meet a lot of people, probably some of your best friends or friends that you will have for a lifetime. So in AIT, if you have friends, or if you're an introvert, you can study by yourself. But what I usually did is I used to quiz my battle buddy, certain sections that we were on, kind of throughout the section, depending on how long it was, but always before test night. But even like from what we learned that day, like I would quiz them, and it just helps you retain the information instead of just reading it in the book. In your workbook, it's a lot easier to read the answers, but when someone asks you without looking at the answer, makes it a little bit more difficult. So quiz yourself, and quiz your battle buddy, and that's going to help you retain the information, so when it does come to test day, you're not struggling, or you're not doing process of elimination. It's just gonna make things a lot easier. So make sure you guys are quizzing each other. Alright, now tip number 4, and this is going to be to listen to your teachers when they give hints. So I don't know how your AIT will go, but for my AIT, our teachers would like stomp the ground whenever there was like a quiz question, kind of giving you a hint like you need to know this information. So what I would do is I would put like a star or like a hash mark in the section of my workbook to know like this is important. So listen to these hints, because they'll tell you like, okay, you guys need to know this is going to be on the test, or they're going to say this might be on the test, which probably means it is going to be on the test. So with things like that, just make sure you are annotating that, and make sure you're highlighting it, or putting a little hash mark. That's what I did, to ensure that you at least are gonna know that question on the test. It's gonna make things a lot easier, and yeah, it's gonna make things a lot easier. So let's get into the last tip. Alright, this is my last and final tip. This is something I didn't know about in AIT, and something that I learned quickly about when I was in AIT. And this is going to be to take AIT serious. Now me, at first I didn't really take it too serious, but then like after the first couple of tests, after the certain modules, I started took it serious. And here's why. If you don't take it serious and you fail your test, I want you to listen. This is the most important part in this entire video. If you fail your test in AIT, you have one more chance to retake the test, but they're going to be different questions. There might be different questions. Most are going to be the same, but it's going to be worded differently, or it's going to be a few different questions, a different version of the test. And if you fail the retake on that test, you get recycled and you restart that whole section, and some can be 1 to 2 weeks. So you reset yourself back 2 weeks, worst case, in AIT, and that's another 2 weeks. You're there longer. It's another 2 weeks you're doing things you don't want to do, and it's another 2 weeks that you're gonna miss out on graduating on time. But on top of that, people in your current class are gonna know when you get kicked out, because the next day you're gonna be not in the class anymore, and everyone's gonna be like, yo, where'd this dude go? And they're gonna be like, oh, he got kicked out, he failed his class. So not only is it frustrating, but then you'll like lose friends that you already have made in that class, and you guys been cool, and you guys will no longer go to class together. So like I said, take AIT serious. If you want to know what more about AIT specifically, I'll link some in the videos below or above, and go ahead and check it out. And that's honestly all the tips that I got. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it down in the question box below, and I'll make sure I'll get back to you. And like this video if you are new, or if you like this video, if you just like this video, subscribe if you're new. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching if you made it to the end. And without further ado, peace.